This is Jennifer Palamas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is Barbecue Central.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, gang, welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central show. Oh, yeah, the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, affectionately known as the Hump Day version. We love the Hump Day. Lots to get into. I'm not going to bore you with all the contact information because, quite frankly, I have fostered a show that takes care of everything that you're going to need to know for the next 60 minutes or so. So without further ado, let me make sure we're doing this right this time. How about this?
If you got questions about barbecue or grilling, maybe as a hobby or even a business, looking to get an expert's point of view, why not ask Dr. Barbecue? You can submit your questions by clicking on the Ask Dr. Barbecue tab on the website. The doctor is in. Here's Ray Lampe with his nurse, Greg Rempe.
That's me, and this is Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. Ray, how are you, bud?
Greg, I'm good. How are you?
Doing absolutely fabulous. So what did you think of the splash screen now that we're all professional now?
Oh, yeah, it's so professional. I'm very impressed with myself.
Hey, well, look, you had to take the reins and make sure that this thing was a proper outfit, and I certainly appreciate you doing that as we go ahead and race to get your picture up here on the screen. I apologize for the delay. Lots to get to tonight, Ray. And
I look the same as always, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, first of all, I guess you can tell by the 18 locks to the right of your shoulder you're on the road again. Where are we finding you today?
The great state of Ohio. I'm in Columbus.
Look at that, the Buckeye City. Did you go to Thurman's, Ray? Did you go to Thurman's?
Not yet. Maybe tomorrow.
All right. Well,
try.
You got to let me know what you think about that. When you huge burgers. I know you like burgers, right?
I do like burgers, yes.
Yeah, so if you get there, you have to drop me a line off air and let me know exactly what you think about it. But nevertheless, lots to get to tonight, and let's go ahead and kind of jump right into the first question. This is an email question coming in from Paul Rampolla. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I believe it's Paul Rampolla, West Palm Beach, Florida. So, your now home state of Florida. Coming in, it says, Hi, Greg, love the show. Never miss an episode. Please ask Ray tonight for tips on getting a smoke ring when cooking brisket or pork butt with a big green egg. For instance, how many wood chunks, what type of wood, temperature, duration of cook. Any help is appreciated. So, Ray, the floor is yours.
Wood and smoke ring aren't necessarily... it's not that important. Let's talk about the wood first. Cooking in a big green egg, you want to cook a brisket or a pork butt. For me, it's about the size of my fist. 2 pieces of wood that'll equal about the size of my fist, and then probably another handful of chips. Usually what I'll do is put half my charcoal in, put those 2 pieces of wood pretty much in the middle, and sprinkle some chips all around and put the rest of my charcoal. Now, that's going to give me about the right amount of flavor for me. I'm not a real serious smoke eater. So I don't like heavy smoke. If you want to like more smoke, put a third piece in. Smoke ring's a whole different story. Now, the big green egg is not a huge smoke ring machine. It doesn't mean it doesn't give you the good flavor, but I'll get a small smoke ring always, but you don't get that big monster. There's just no real solution to that. Except for I'm gonna lay it out here. You can use Tender Quick. You can cheat. Tender Quick. Morton's Tender Quick. I'm gonna tell you how to do it. I have never done it, but I know how. You make a solution. You take about a quart of water and you take about a quarter cup of Tender Quick and put it in there, maybe a half a cup. And you're going to have to experiment with this. And you soak your brisket in it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see how it works out. It's a fake smoke ring, but Tender Quick is what makes ham red, and you'll get that big, beautiful, kick-ass smoke ring. Cheat, use Tender Quick.
Would you say that there might be teams out there that produce a non-legitimate smoke ring?
Where do you think I learned it?
Oh, hey, all right. You ain't cheating, you're not trying, right?
Well, it's not cheating, but that's one of the reasons. It goes way back to KCBS. The rule says do not consider smoke ring. I don't think there's many judges. A big, beautiful smoke ring looks good. You can't help but consider it. But that's why the rule is that way, because you can. Guys were making fake ones 20 years ago.
All right, so let me ask you this question in regards to smoke ring, and I am kind of glad that Paul wrote about this particular portion of the cooking process 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even when we did that very first brisket roundtable. It was you, It was Jim Minion, Fast Eddie, Leanne Whippen, and we did talk about this, and I think it was brought up in the form of room temperature meat versus coming straight out of the cooker, and I believe I said, well, isn't it true that if you put a ice cold piece of meat or right from refrigerator onto cooker versus letting it sit out a little bit, there is a longer period of smoke ring development time?
Yes, that's it. Smoke ring is created by the nitrites in the smoke and the protein in the meat, and that's what creates it. Doesn't necessarily make for a smoky flavor. That reaction ceases at about 135 degrees, give or take a few. So if you put in a cold piece of meat, I always did that. I always put my meat directly onto the cooker. I never would let it warm up, and never have. I put it directly on there, and I always felt that it helped enhance my smoke ring. So yeah, that'll help you a little bit on the Big Green Egg, but you still don't get a killer one.
So if you don't use Tender Quick, you're looking to get a kick-ass smoke ring otherwise, and maybe he's in the market for a new cooker. Like, what cookers do you know that really put on a good natural smoke ring when compared to a pellet cooker or a Big Green Egg or a ceramic style?
Yeah, the wood cookers, the offset smokers. The Jambo guys are probably getting a great smoke ring because they're running a nice hot wood fire, straight wood. They're probably getting really good smoke ring. That's definitely probably the best cooker available. Any kind of offset like that where you're burning all wood. I'm not necessarily a fan of burning all wood, but if you want a good smoke ring, that's going to do it.
Ray Lampe joining us for the weekly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. A couple different websites to check out while we're talking tonight. His personal website, drbbq.com. And then, of course, if you have a question, you can go to askdrbbq.com and then submit them in from there. And they've been rolling right in over the last number of weeks here, Ray. So we thank Paul for that question.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Been great questions.
This has been really good questions and some great information being passed about here. So, if you're listening, you have a friend that might be getting into this stuff, turn them on to the Wednesday show, for crying out loud. I mean, what are you missing except great information and two really good-looking guys? All right, well, great information at least. Next question coming from Steve, Ray, in Alabama. And, this is a really kind of broad, general question, but I'm sure it's one you get asked all the time. How do you go about picking the best cooker for you?
Yeah, that is a tough one. I do get asked that a lot. And it's funny. There's a lot of different kinds of smokers, and being guys like we are, you get focused on one. I remember when I was looking to buy my first cooker and spend a little money, I had this one-page catalog from Dave Close, and I was looking at that Close. I wanted it so bad, but I just couldn't afford the one I wanted. And then I was looking at, there was a company called Kingfisher, and I ended up buying a Jedmaster. I met Dennis. Everybody's a little different. Boy, we're guys and we like different bells and whistles and stuff. Budget's a big thing. If your budget is limited, and most guys, their first cooker is, resist the temptation to buy the cheap offset. That's what I'm going to tell you. So let's talk about in the under $500 range. You can get a Weber Smoky Mountain, which is going to really cook really well, but it's not going to look very cool at all. Or you can get the $300-400 offset that's going to make you look really cool, but it's not going to cook very well.
Agreed.
And you're going to have to stay up all night, and you're going to get tired of that thing, and you're going to be getting rid of it. You're probably going to keep the Weber forever. It's think about it, what you really want to do. But you can't talk some guys out of it. They want that offset, and they're going to be stick burners because they heard that was cool, and they're going to buy it. You got the box smokers, and there's all kinds of different stuff. Think about what you need. Oh, I don't know, and then just buy a Big Green Egg.
In the end, buy the Big Green Egg. Absolutely. Here's, I probably don't field it as much as you do, Ray, but the things that I tell people to take into account is, of course, it has to be budget first and foremost. I do, like you say, resist the temptation to buy the cheap because it's cheap for a reason, especially in cookers and some of the accessories that go along with this industry. You're really paying, or you're getting what you pay for. So there was a saying floating around, buy the best, only cry once. And I think in a lot of cases that is true with cookers and with accessories that you get here in the barbecue and grilling community. The other thing I tell people is take into account what size of group you're going to be cooking for, mostly 85, 90% of the time. So that's probably the individual or the immediate family unit. But you really have to take into account, especially if you're going to get into it and you're going to start entertaining, what's the range that it could get up to? If you have 5 people in your family, but you might be cooking for 25, you might be looking at multiple units, or you might have to step up 1 or 2 grades than you normally did so you can accommodate everything and not look like a schmuck at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to need more space. Buy the biggest one you can. But I'm with you about the quality. The offsets, you buy a cheap one, it's nothing even remotely close to an expensive one. You can buy that little cheap gas square box thing that looks kind of like a spice wine or a Stumps, but it's not. It's junk. It doesn't really work that way. And when you're buying that first one, you're enticed by this. Looks really cool, but yeah, man, it's not going to work out that well.
All right, question coming in from Dave in Oklahoma, wondering what round of the World Food Championships you might be judging this year, Ray.
I'm not sure I can say,
Oh.
But I will be there in a high-profile judging position. I just learned yesterday, but I'm not sure I can say.
Is that an event you're looking forward to?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's really coming together nice. I can tell you I'll be at the Golden Nugget, and you will find me at the casino bar often. So if you want to say hi, but whether I'll be judging, I don't know. But yeah, that's a big deal, man. It's coming together fast. This thing's going to be fun. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, there's a big barbecue contest, ICS chili. No, I'm sorry, it's not ICS, but it's very similar to ICS chili contest. There's a sandwich contest, a burger contest, 7 criteria. And at the final table on Sunday, there will be one of each. The winner of each will be there. They will judge a bowl of chili versus a plate of barbecue, a sandwich, a burger, a dessert, a bacon category. It's a cool event. I'm very excited about it.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show for the weekly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment, and we thank Steve for that question on how to pick a cooker. Next one from Florida as well. Pete in Florida says, Ray, can you use briquette charcoal in ceramic or Kamado-style cookers?
Well, yes, it will work. You'll get your food cooked, but it's not the right way to go. 2 reasons. For one, it's hard to light. So it's a little easier. The lump charcoal light's really easy, and that's good because you don't ever want to use fluid in your Kamado. And a chimney, there's kind of no reason to. It kind of is a chimney. If you use lump, all you got to do is stick a couple little fire starters down in, and it starts real fast. But the second reason, and the bigger one, is ash. There's ash build up from briquettes, even the better ones. There's a lot more ash than there is lump charcoal, and the Kamado works really well because of the great airflow. So when the lump charcoal doesn't create any ash, you get that airflow constantly. With briquettes, you're going to get an ash buildup pretty quick, and it's going to limit the airflow, and it's really going to hurt you. So not recommended. If you're in a pinch and you can light them in a chimney and throw them in there and cook your steak, sure, they'll work, but not recommended at all.
Yeah, and I can agree because I'm kind of an idiot. When I got my hands on it was called a Bubba Keg. It's gone through a number of different changes, but when it originally came out from that same area where all the other ceramic style cookers are coming out of, I was out of lump. I tried briquettes. I have a weed burner, so I got them lit without any problem. But unfortunately, about 25 or 30 minutes into the cook, when they started to ash out, yeah, that's the biggest problem with briquettes is the amount of ash that they lay off as they're burning out, and it smothered the whole fire. So, 45 minutes into it, I'm wondering why the temperatures are dropping. Yeah, well, open it up, realize that there's a huge, thick layer that can't even shake through the grate to get down into the vent to ash out. So, lesson learned, but I absolutely agree. Briquettes are a danger when we're talking about Kamado-style cookers.
Yeah, it's not going to work well. It's made to run on lump charcoal, and it'll work a whole lot better with it.
All right, next question coming from Shannon in Oklahoma. Wow, Oklahoma as well. Most important accessories for your grill or barbecue?
I'm not a gadget guy. I got a rib rack. I use it in a pinch if I got to fit a lot of ribs on. Oh, I've thrown away and given away every gadget known to man because people seem to think somehow I'm going to fall in love with it and want to be their spokesman for free. What I use around the house, I use a ThermaPen constantly. That's number one. Get a ThermaPen. I use DigiQ on my egg. I use it. I use it when I want to cook overnight and don't want to have to worry about it. Or like Thanksgiving. You know, you want to cook the turkey out there. You want that thing to stay right on temp, and you don't want to have to be paying attention to it because you're inside doing the other stuff, watching football. I'll use it for that. So I think a DigiQ is an expensive toy, but I think it works really well. So thermometers, the two things that make you get your food done properly, are the gadgets I use all the time. Honestly, Thermapen just sent me the old style with the readout and the little cable that goes in so you could just probe the meat. I imagine I'll use that thing. Now that they sent me a nice new one, I'll probably use that on my turkey as well. I generally don't use that other probe on the DigiQ. So I'm just not much of a gadget guy. Learn how to cook properly and some good rubs and sauces.
Things that I recommend, aside from items that you have, if you are floating in between, I think sometimes people get caught up in, I'm a griller, I'm a barbecuer. I think a great grill brush is something that is key really to anything, because you want to be able to make sure that you're keeping that grilling or cooking surface clean and healthy. They say the clean grill is a healthy grill, or at least our buddy Ted Reeder says that all the time. And I think, that's one of those things you can cheap out on a grill brush, and you're buying 4 or 5 over the course of a year. Or if you cook a lot in the summer months, you might be burning through 2 or 3 of those because they melt. The cheap ones will shed bristles down onto the cooking surface, so you have a potential hazard there as well. So if you go, like when I got my stainless steel grates, I went to the restaurant supply store and I bought a broiler brush, and it spent $25 or $30 on it, but I had it for like 3 years. I mean, it was easily the best money I ever spent. Kept it out of the weather. I mean, it was great. They work fabulous. And then, like a good sturdy pair of tongs so you can get under meat. It holds weight. I mean, we're not talking about like flipping over 15 or 20-pound briskets, but, decent steak or burgers, or if it's kind of a, pound on the microphone. If you're moving some stuff around, it kind of helps you move some stuff around. I think, those are some really good key accessories that you shouldn't also go cheap on.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, those are things you got to have. I agree with you. I didn't think about it because those are naturals, but absolutely, because that's the stuff you're going to use every time.
All right, Ray. So you're down in Columbus, and you're doing work with who are you doing this? It's Sam's Club, right? You're doing work with Sam's Club.
Yeah. Sam's Club. Coke Zero is our big sponsor, but man, there's a list of other ones. If you go to there's a contest. Cookoffbeforekickoff.com is the website. There's a contest there. If you enter a recipe, the winner's going to get a trip to Pasadena for a BCS championship game.
Really?
It's a pretty big deal. Yeah, and I don't know, it's had a lot of traffic. I think people should look into that.
Cookoffbeforekickoff.com?
Yep. And there's a bunch of videos. That's where all the videos, we did 100 recipes and 100 videos, and the recipes are all there, but that's where you can enter for the contest as well.
All right, Cook-Off Before Kickoff. Where are you going to be at after you're done in the Columbus area?
I'm going home for a couple of days, and I'm going to Ken Hess's wedding in Huntsville, Alabama.
Really?
Ken from Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue. Yeah, Ken's an old friend, and he's getting married next week. So I'm going there, come home for a few days, and then we go to Las Vegas.
There you go. Big Hoss becoming an honest man, and then World Food Championships on from there. So Ray Lampe joins us each and every week. We do the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. We kind of rapid-fired this week, so I know next week we already have lined up prime rib cooking tips, because I know people get really concerned. Kind of an expensive piece of meat. Don't want to screw that up and look like an idiot in front of all your friends and neighbors. And then, a little bit of a competition question with, and I've been getting it a lot, when should teams consider going from backyard to pro? Just a little teaser for next week. So, Ray, work on those answers. And as always, appreciate the time, and we'll look for you again next Wednesday.
Hey, thanks, Greg. And good luck to all my friends at the Jack.
There you go. Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. AskDrBBQ.com. DRBBQ.com is the website if you want to check them out. Down in Buckeye Land for Sam's Club. Cook-Off Before Kickoff. If it's not heavily trafficked and you can get a free BCS ticket or two, why not head on over there? Absolutely. Guys with Aprons coming up next. It's a frenzy sweeping the nation. Guys with Aprons. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. If you are looking to advertise with me on the show on Wednesday specifically, no easier way to get in front of the target market that loves to barbecue and loves to grill. If you want some information on that, you get a hold of me. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. You can also visit the website and click on the About and then How to Become an Advertiser on the show. That'll kind of spell it out. And if you do have any other questions after you read everything or after we talk via the phone lines, more than happy to get you further information and so forth. But look, this is the way to do it. You have an audience that is built in, interested, and ready to go when it comes to outdoor live fire cooking. Why not partner with the best show out there on the internets or the radio or TV or whatever for that matter? Doing yourself a disservice. That's all I got to say. It's Guys with Aprons coming up next. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com if you want to jump in on the show tonight. My next two guests are here for their monthly appearance, both well-respected in the outdoor live fire cooking realms, both in Persona D Online. Tonight we have a great topic, multiple topics to discuss. So let's go ahead and welcome back and rekindle the Guys with Aprons. It is Barry Martin, and it is Larry Gain from Smoke and Ember, and welcome to the cookout. Oh, look at this. Jeez, Pete. Hold on one second. I got to get you guys all squared. I thought I had it all squared away with Ray, and it looks like I got to do it each and every time with a new guest. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are you?
Glad to be here.
All right.
Larry was so excited about being here, he got a hold of me at 3:30 this afternoon and said, when's Greg going to call?
3:30 in the afternoon.
Well, it was really 4:30, but I see you got a really nice bathrobe on, Barry.
You're welcome. That's how I dress for you guys. I got my dress-up bathrobe.
Well, quality bathrobes are paramount to be a success in this industry. I think we have all learned that over our years of kind of covering this thing. One of the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight, and Barry, let me get your thought on it first. Is it evolution? Is it proliferation? Is it fornication of everyone having award-winning barbecue rubs? How can every barbecue rub be like world famous and award-winning?
Well, I think first of all, it's great because it just says so many people are excited and they love it, and their friends say, gosh darn, this is good. You ought to sell this. And, of course, they get the bug and think, well, of course I can sell it. And that's kind of neat when you think about it. But one of the things that cracks me up is that most, not all, but most, kind of have the same 5 or 6 ingredients in them. The number one being salt, and then usually some smoked paprika and cumin and a couple other things, some heat thrown in there, a different kind. And that's fun. That's exciting, of course. But, I'm an old Texas boy. That's where I started eating barbecue, and it's salt and pepper and smoke. But we'll go to Larry on this one now.
All right, Larry, any reason that you can think of that, everybody can claim that they have the best, most world-famous rub ever?
Well, I think the important thing is that so many people are proud of what they do that if they want to call it the best or award-winning, I think it just speaks a lot to how popular barbecue is. I do wish that there was a little more originality, maybe some difference. Get out of that whole Kansas City, Memphis, Texas kind of, and let's try some herbs de Provence or something a little different.
I was just going to say, and you kind of led in there for a second, Larry, with herbs de Provence, which everybody knows and loves. If you were building the Embers and Flame barbecue rub, how would you make it? What would set yours apart?
Well, one of the reasons I've never done a sauce or a rub was because I couldn't. It's just not the way my head works with coming up with different things as far as that's concerned. I'd like to have something a little more herbal for a rub, but then you start to run into issues with what those herbs are going to do on the smoker in the heat. For me, there's really only a couple really unique true rubs on the market today.
Name them by name right now.
Yeah, we want to hear names. By names.
Okay. I think Todd's products from Plowboy Barbecue are truly unique. And there's a guy out here in California with Simply Marvelous barbecue rubs, the cherry, the pecan, and those other flavors I think are truly unique.
Speaking to that, Greg, one of the things I see over and over again with a lot of the guys that I pay attention to or follow or who follow me, whatever, is they put the same rub or the same spices on everything. And except for Frank's Red Hot, which has a great campaign, they put that on everything. I think that one of the things I see over and over again is everything comes out tasting like that rub, and they lose the meat, they lose the smoke, they lose the character, and they don't nuance the food. But that's just me.
Barry, let me ask you a couple questions that I asked Larry as well. You know, if everything seems to be a little bit more vanilla or not as outside of the box, when we're talking about rubs, like how would you, if you were going to make the Chef Barry or the CB blend rubs or whatever you want to call it, what would you do to yours to make it set apart?
Well, I have a standard classic that I use on chicken, because chicken to me always needs a little something, and whether I'm rubbing it under the skin or do something with it, and I also use it on some pork, not my Boston butts, but if I'm doing a pork loin or something, and it's a combination of garlic powder and curry, cumin, and salt. And I'm really happy with it. And then afterwards, I might dress it. I like Larry's idea. I usually dress with herbs and oil after I cook, because I like those flavors on after. But if I'm going to rub something and slow cook it indirect, then barbecue or smoke, then I'm going to use that's my standard go-to flavor.
Something that you're going to be looking to market soon, Barry?
I don't think so. I think 4 or 5. Here's a funny story. I was cooking for some really famous barbecue guys who run a big company in Georgia, and I said that I was going to fix my favorite curried prawns on the grill, and they all turned their noses up and said, oh no, not curry. Oh, curry's terrible. I'm just talking, everything I use is off the shelf at a grocery store, so it's just curry. And there's a whole bunch of different curries, but this is just the thing that says curry. So I said, okay, I won't do that. And then I read all the spices that are in the curry, and they went, oh, that sounds good. I like that. So it's positioning and presentation, but I guess maybe it's part of it. But I'm with Larry. People, God bless them, they're excited, their friends love their food, and they want to share it. That's neat.
All right, Larry, let's go back to you here for this question. And it is perhaps being called the overuse of EV olive oil. Now, that's my term on it. If I confused you, I apologize. Extra virgin olive oil. I don't think I'm allowed to say EVOO. That might be trademark, but I have dumbed it down to EV olive oil. That's my own trademark, so don't use it or I'll sue you. Have we gotten to an overuse of extra virgin olive oil?
Well, the term extra virgin olive oil is probably EVOO is not the product to use on the barbecue or grilling. It's actually just regular olive oil is actually better because it has a higher smoke point, because it's been filtered and it has less particles in it. And so is it overused? I don't think so. It's not the right oil. In my opinion. Now, Barry and I have become big fans of avocado oil.
Disclaimer, we're actually under contract with an avocado oil company to write for them. So we have to be honest, FTC, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yes. All right, so for the people that don't know what avocado oil is, or they aren't as familiar, what separates it from, the very popular extra virgin olive oils, or olive oils for that matter?
Well, the biggest thing is the smoke point. It's up around 500 degrees, so it's going to give you a much, much better product off the grill. When you're doing low and slow, it's probably not as critical. And
Can I address that extra virgin olive oil?
Yeah.
I think, yes, it is way overused, because everything I've been reading and seeing lately is that the olive oil that's sold in grocery stores that most people buy and pay a relatively premium price for, is adulterated with canola oil, is secondary quality, being shipped in from overseas, is potentially aged. Olives are fruit, and their oils are fruit juice, if you will. So if it isn't fairly fresh, meaning within a year or so of actual bottling, and if it hasn't been stored at the right temperature or in dark, light-proof containers, there's a real good chance it's turned. So I was fortunate to do some tasting with the California Olive Oil Ranch people, and I'm not under contract with them, and they really explained how the various olive oils are made and why they're better to get them younger and fresher. And I use those oils, those types of oils, after grilling or after smoking because they have such intense herbaceous flavors. There, I got to use herbaceous, Larry. How's that?
That's really good for a guy in a bathrobe.
10-point word. That's right. Who know you could come up with words while you're getting ready for bed. Barry, let me ask you a quick question. Do you think because there was this can you say overpopularity, but extra virgin olive oil became very popular, everybody has it, there's different flavors, there's cold press, there's not extra virgin. Have people become confused on how to use olive oils? You know, extra virgin olive oil maybe to add a richness after the fact versus putting it on to cook with and using a regular olive oil. I mean, it can get a little confusing, yeah?
Greg, I think you're spot on. If it's good extra virgin olive oil, and I like going with California because it's American and it's a high-quality oil, really it's pretty expensive to be cooking with it. And so I use it afterwards for flavor and use a neutral flavor oil if I'm going to grill. That's where I love the avocado oil when we're grilling. And I use the olive oil, the extra virgin stuff out of California. Or I just found out they're making some in Oregon now too. Somebody got to bottle that and see what that tastes like. But the thing to do is an olive oil tasting. Buy a couple of really good quality California olive oils and really taste them and begin to understand what those flavors are, because then you can use them to complement the meat and under however you're going to cook. Based upon the method.
We're talking with Larry Gain from embersandflame.com. Also, Barry Martin. Welcome to the cookout.com. Barry, one last question about the avocado oil. What kind of a flavor profile does it have? Is it not really avocado?
It's very neutral. It's very neutral in flavor. A light taste on your palate. If you just taste it, it's got a little bit of flavor, but it's not strong. It's mild in flavor, so it's perfect for grilling and frying and things like that because of, as Larry said, the very high smoke point. So you can be grilling above 450 degrees and not sweat about it, not worry about it, whereas all the other oils are already smoking. And yet it has all the great qualities, the healthful qualities that avocados have. So it's a good product. And the brand we are contracted with is Chosen Foods. Excellent. They're at Costco.
All right, Larry, let me ask you this question here before I turn you guys loose tonight, and Barry, we'll get your take here in just a second. This coming weekend in the competition scene finds one of the most revered competitions ever on the face of the earth, Magistel. I almost said Magistel. I did it. Magical, and so it's called the Jack Daniels. Thoughts about it? People you think that might have a good shot at winning? Is it overhyped? Is it just Brown-Forman saying, look at me? Some thoughts about the Jack Daniels as a whole.
Well, you know, there's three big ones, Memphis in May, the Jack, and the American Royal. And I don't think they're overhyped at all. What I like about the Jack is more than others is anybody can get in if they're drawn. You know, that the whole process with winning and the bungs and the drawing and everything, I think is great for the I was going to say sport, but for barbecue in general. Who's going to win? I don't know. I can't handicap barbecue competitions very well. I do wish there was a fantasy barbecue though. Like
fantasy barbecue league.
You know that there's actually one that is in like development, right? I can't say anything specifically, but there is one that is being in developed right now.
Hey, Larry, you and I both have a favorite, though. John McGee, right? He's going to be back there. Isn't he back there again this year?
A good West Coast guy, John. I saw him. I think he was in Wyoming last night on his way. So yeah. John McGee.
He's a neighbor of mine, and he's a darn good guy who really, really represents barbecue well wherever he happens to be, and barbecue as what it is. And he's also kind of celebrated because he's up here from the Northwest and he does a good job.
Barry, do you have some takes on the Jack Daniels? Do you find it to be a little bit overhyped for what it is?
I drink it as often as possible, and since Larry doesn't drink, I get his share. So,
Thank you.
We're talking about
finally
the competition.
Oh no, right.
I think it's great, and I'm really excited to see everybody get excited about it. It celebrates barbecue and brings in a lot of people who don't know anything about barbecue, and they see it, and it's cool, and that's great. I think it's neat. Sorry to step all over you there. I've been drinking.
There you go. Chef Barry Martin drinking. Larry Gain, embersandflame.com, Barry's website, welcome to thecookout.com. Guys, always appreciate the time, and we will look for you again next month, working on topics that we can just rant and rave about.
There you go.
That sounds great. We rant and rave with the best of them.
You got it, and I appreciate it fully, you two. Now, Larry and Barry, go to bed, for crying out loud. All right. Let me see here. I got to get this timed out just a little bit better. I'm actually not going to be doing a commercial. This is called Transition. Mike McLeod coming up out of this non-break. If you miss any show, hit the archives, thebbqcentralshow.com, and you can pick up any part of the show ever. Mike McLeod coming up right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at the BBQ Central Show. My next guest, or last guest tonight, this hour, MMA Creative President and CEO, a marketing firm that in conjunction with KCBS kind of puts on that Sam's Club series, which just ended this past weekend. Also, the creator of the World Food Championships. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome back a good friend of the show, Mike McLeod. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I am good, stranger. How are you?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Mike. I know a very busy time for you, so appreciate the couple minutes you can give the show tonight. Let's just roll right into it. I know we're only a couple days out of it, but maybe a short-term post-mortem on the Sam's Club series as it sat for 2013.
I think everything went extremely well, and we had fantastic participation from the teams and the judges, from sponsors. Sam's was very happy with how the series ran this year. They're planning right now for 2014. We're helping them figure out where to go and when to go throughout the country. So we felt really good about it. It went smoother this year than it ever has, and it should, because we've done it for 3 years now. So we were very pleased.
Mike McLeod joining us here on the show. Mike, when you look at the calendar for next year and possible locations, obviously there's going to be some cities that are going to be revisited just, for sheer population, or it's a great place that Sam's wants to promote. But for the areas that haven't seen representation yet, is this a year that you might see a New England area or someplace that hasn't been touched yet by the Sam's Club?
It is a good year for that. We had about probably 4 or 5 locations this year that we knew could be improved upon. So we're trying to factor in those considerations and look at new markets that we need to go visit. So if anyone has an idea or suggestion on where they'd like to see the tour go, now's the time to get it into us.
How receptive is a Sam's Club when you get input from the cooking public or the general public that might be looking to take part in a local qualifying event?
How receptive is the club?
Yes.
Generally speaking, they're very very receptive. Sometimes they're inquisitive because they haven't, especially a new club, they don't know what's about to happen, and it kind of scares them a little bit. Any kind of club manager who's never dealt with 30 barbecue rigs descending upon them for a weekend and taking half their parking lot, it can be a little concerning. But once they have it and once they see it, invariably 100% of the club managers view it as a wonderful experience for their members, for their associates, and for the public in that community. And they hope that they always hope that we come back.
You know, you've been around this whole Sam's Clubs thing since the beginning, really instrumental in obviously getting this thing going with KCBS. Have you heard, like, through the grapevine that there are certain clubs that want to get a spot? Or is that, like, that in demand?
We do. We receive requests from club managers that have had it. We receive requests from club managers that are nearby a club that where it occurred. So it's like the Great American Barbecue Tour that we kicked off 6-7 years ago. A lot of contests hopefully will come to their event. Unfortunately, there's not enough manpower and not enough weekends in a year to hit all of them. Obviously,
Mike McLeod joining us here, President, CEO of MMA Creative, website mmacreative.com. Also, if you want to check out worldfoodchampionships.com while we're talking, go ahead and do that. Mike, let me transition here just a little bit, and I want to get your take on something that the KCBS started doing, and they've kind of allowed cooks and revealed scores and kind of seen how they hit on tables with their meats. And I wonder if this is blown up a little bit in the face of KCBS and the fact that, this shows with actual data that purported myth of the bad table actually does exist. And not only that, it can be seen by the cooks that are out there. Is it a good thing that they did this, or is there a little bit of a negativity that they might not have seen ahead of time?
Well, anytime you have change, there's going to be some resistance and some ruffled feathers. I tend to think that transparency is always a good thing. I don't want to comment specifically on that particular issue because I'm not on the board, and I wasn't involved in that decision. So, and I certainly don't want to fan the flames or say something that the board would think would be counterproductive to what their objectives are. So, I'll just leave it at that. It doesn't surprise me that there's some interesting opinions and differing opinions on the development. I've learned after about 8 years in the industry that anytime you introduce something new or change a rule or a program, there's going to be flack, there's going to be a little resistance, there's going to be some bumps in the road. But so hopefully that's what it is. And I'm sure that the board will listen and learn from it. They always do. We've got a great board right now.
Yeah.
And who knows, they may decide to reverse that or they may decide to amend it. So I just would suggest everyone gives it time to work its way through the system.
All right, Mike, so November 7th through the 10th, the second annual World Food Championships taking place once again in the city of gluttonous sin, Las Vegas, Nevada. How about a quick background? We have new listeners coming to the show all the time, on why you thought this event needed to happen and I guess how you have seen it grow over the past 12 months.
Well, the growth of it over the last 12 months has been tremendous, from bringing on extra partners and sponsors, getting more competitors involved, getting more media coverage, to ultimately getting a TV show that's going to be filming 6 episodes around it this year. We are just delighted and tickled with that, very, very fortunate with where the World Food Championships are right now. The reason we started it, I just felt like there wasn't the big crescendo that was necessary for food sport. And I know that you talk about barbecue specifically, and I've been in barbecue for quite a while too, but there are other competitive sport arenas out there, from chili to hamburger to sandwich and dessert, and we just felt like there needed to be a Super Bowl for all these great culinary talents who can do tremendous things on a grill, do it outdoors, and that was the genesis for the birth of the World Food Championships. And I think we're on to something big and something that's going to have lasting legs, because we're staring at a lot of opportunities right now that just didn't exist 12 months ago or even 6 months ago.
when you're looking at during the course of the year all these different qualifying events to get down to the World Food Championships, whether it be such and such barbecue competition in somewhere in Nevada or a chili cook-off, or somebody submitting a recipe or the bacon recipe. I mean, this thing has really exploded in all forms and fashions here. Are you? I would have to imagine that it is super gratifying for you to not only kind of have this idea of the crescendo, as you call it, but to see it take such a hold within all different forms of foodieism and home culinary people and professionals to really hope that, A, they qualify so they can get out to Las Vegas and have the opportunity to compete and be at the final table with food that isn't even related to the stuff that they cook.
Well, you're probably right. I haven't had much time to sit back and feel gratified about anything yet, but we do have a good feeling about where this is going and what it can do for the industry, the whole food sport industry. I have always been impressed and blown away by what these cooks can do and how much passion and energy they have for their pastime. And if the World Food Championships and the TV show that comes out of it can fan the flames of their desire a little bit further, I think we will have had a big and significant impact, and that will help me sleep at night.
Mike McLeod joining us here on the show, President, CEO of MMA Creative, also the creator of the World Food Championships, which will take place November 7th through the 10th, so coming up very shortly. Mike, you've mentioned the TV show a couple of times. Is this like reality-based around the competition itself? Maybe for whatever you're allowed contractually to tell us, what's the show going to be based on?
Well, it's been so long since I've read the contract that I'll probably get myself in trouble if I say a whole lot. But they're going to follow competitors in each one of the categories that we're doing a championship, and they're going to tell stories. It's going to be, I think, a mixture of something between Pitmasters and Top Chef, but it's going to be totally new because there's not a competition that does what we do. It's more than a smorgasbord. It's almost the Westminster Kennel Club of food. How do you judge a world champion dish, be it the Great Dane of barbecue or the Pekingese of chili? How do you do that? Well, we're going to show how you do it, and TV's going to tell it, and hopefully it's going to be a compelling story. It's going to make some more superstars out of competitors that may be new to the industry or maybe well seasoned. We'll find out.
Do you have, or are you allowed to tell us the judging list? You've talked about how do you do this? Who are some of the palates that are going to be tasked to differentiate a great slab of ribs versus chili versus a burger versus a bacon recipe?
I probably will plead the fifth or ask for patience on that one. I think next week we're going to have some press releases that hit that discuss who our judges are. But everyone knows that's been through the championship and has been reading about it this year. We use the EAT methodology, where we talk about execution, appearance, and tenderness on all the dishes that are put before the judges. We are going to have we're using a tournament-style format this year where you start with a full field, you get down to 10 semifinalists, and then from the 10 you get to 1, and then that 1 in each category goes to the final table. So there's about 3 or 4 rounds there. We're going to have superstar talent in each category, each round, and there will be some judgmental moments and some objective and subconscious moments from very talented judges, but they're all going to be trying to follow a formula that we've put together.
When it's all said and done, Mike, and a winner is finally crowned, aside from, as my favorite cooking show, Iron Chef used to say, gaining the people's fame and adulation forever, what kind of a paycheck is Grand Champion walking away with?
The Grand Champion will win at least $60,000. They'll win $10,000 from being the champion of the category, and then they'll win $50,000 at the final table. There's a chance with extra ancillary challenges that we have that they can win some more money here and there, but it'll be a minimum of $60,000. There's a $300,000 prize purse total, so there's a lot of money on the line.
Yeah,
and then that doesn't even count what happens from a TV standpoint. What happens to their personality and getting appearance fees and and just turning into the next hot food star. So that's probably going to be worth 10 times more than what we'll pay them at the event.
Mike, I'm going to ask you to speculate here, and this isn't anything I had outlined, but it kind of dovetailed nicely into what you just said. Do you think that for the people that are showing up, whether they know that there's a TV show being shot around it yet or not, and I'm sure most of them do you think the overwhelming majority of them just want to go to win and say that they're the best, or are they going to do that, but it might be secondary to getting FaceTime on television and possibly elevating them into, some type of a potential new Food Network personality?
I think it's a little bit of both. You cannot take, after being in this industry as long as I have, and you know this yourself, I think, you cannot take pride off the line. These champions are champions, and they're wanting to be the best of the best. And to do that, you got to beat the best. And we bring together champions from all walks of life, all corners of the globe, and all categories of food that you can imagine. So when they come out on top, they are a bona fide world champion, not just in one category, but across all genres that we serve. But you can't take away the TV aspect of it either, because we've all seen what Tipmasters has done for Myron Mixon, for Tuffy Stone, for Johnny Trick. TV has a far-reaching and profound effect on our lives and on our sport, and I think people are looking at that possibility. Even if they don't win, they might get some kind of TV gig out of it because of their personality. So it's a little bit of both. Who knows what's really going to be the true motivation for someone, but I think we've got both sides of the equation covered.
Mike, last question before I let you go, and I appreciate the time tonight. I think maybe the last time, or maybe it was even the time before that, we talked about the possibility or potential of having like regional World Food Championship final style rounds a la Sam's Club to a degree. Is there any more thought like going into that, kind of building into the final round at Las Vegas, or are you pretty much set to run as is?
We are building the infrastructure for it right now. We already made we made an announcement last week that we are going to do super regionals in 2014. You'll probably see 4 or 5 super regionals where if you don't win in one of the existing events that we call a automatic qualifier, you could go to one of the super regionals and try to win your way in. So that is about to be developed.
Wow, absolutely fantastic. Mike, don't thank me for the idea. I mean, that's free of charge. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, right.
Mike, the check's in the mail.
Of course. And if I don't get it tomorrow, I'll just wait longer. Don't worry. Mike McLeod joining me here on the show. Again, November 7th through the 10th, second annual World Food Championships taking place. And, Mike, if you're in town and, like, you're a spectator, plenty to do and take in over the course of those 3 days, right?
Oh, there's a lot to do. Not only seeing the TV show unfold and seeing all these competitors go head-to-head, but we've got a bacon fest, we've got a CBJ class, we've got a food fight that's going to feature Earl Campbell versus Bill Bates in a heavyweight bout. We call it the winner-takes-all food throwdown. So we've got a lot of things going on. Most of those things are free or very low cost to the public, so there's definitely a lot of reasons to come out and see what's going on.
Sounds like an absolutely fabulous event. And again, it's November 7th through the 10th. And we're talking with Mike McLeod, President, CEO of MMA Creative, and creator of the World Food Championships. Mike, always appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you after World Food to get a little postmortem on that one, too.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All right, Mike, take care. There he is. Class act right there. And really food, can you say food visionary? A guy who thought that it might be a great idea. And, I don't think I'm speaking out of school when, to say that I've had some conversations with Mike outside of or off air, as they would say, and said, hey, what do you think of, this show and ways to grow it and take it to the next level? And I think it was before he actually had the World Food Championship started, or it might have been the year leading up to the first one, so that would have been, year and a half ago. He said, hey, got to make it as broad as possible. So, that's why you constantly see this show kind of evolving and, not just catering to one sector of the industry, but really trying to open up. And, with a Wednesday show like this, you might see or you might start to get interviews with chili cooks, with burger cooks, like we did with Erin Evanson in July or August or whenever we did that with her. Really open up the culinary landscape and, allow different people in this thing because, we're barbecue and grilling first. We're outdoor live fire cooking first and foremost, and that's what the show will always be about. But to be able to kind of open up and broaden the scope of, what people are doing out there, why not? All right. If you want to win a $20 gift certificate from the Barbecue Superstore, shoot me an email and in the subject line put MMA Creative. That's MMA Creative. And I will get you a $20 gift card to the Barbecue Superstore. And again, that website, thebbqsuperstore.com. That's thebbqsuperstore.com. Richard Parker and the great folks over there doing a weekly giveaway for us for some time now. So, it's well appreciated on our aspect to be able to kind of give something back to you guys. And looks like we got a winner. It is Phil Luswick, MMA Creative. Phil, no need to send me an address or shipping info or anything like that. No worries about it. I will get you hooked up, and you're going to get in touch, or Richard Parker's going to get in touch with you, tell you how to redeem that $20 gift card, and you're all set to go. What can I tell you? Beautiful. Wow. Rapid hour. Done. All the way back at the top of the hour. We did it right at the top. We rarely do top of the hour interview, but we crammed it all in for this hour. Crammed it all in. Get it? Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and his Ask Dr. Barbecue weekly segment covered why you shouldn't use briquettes in your Kamado-style cooker. We talked about the how he's going down to the Jack, and he's going to be a judge there. No. How he's going to World Food Championships, but he wasn't allowed to say what he was judging, if I'm not mistaken. We also talked about how to get a good smoke ring on the Big Green Egg. Ray is the corporate chef for Big Green Egg. He travels around the country promoting the joys and the succulence of cooking on that deal, but said, hey, look, if you want a great smoke ring, that's probably not the cooker you're going to want to get, but gives a little cheater way with the Tender Quick. I've never used that before. I do have a couple pellet grills myself, and I really haven't seen, a bad smoke ring. It's not great. I did have a wood burner. I had a close 42-inch offset that I got rid of. Man, I'm kicking myself every day. That thing was badass, if you like live fire. I got lazy. What can I tell you? Then we had the guys in aprons. Larry Gain, Barry Martin, embersandflame.com. Welcome to thecookout.com. Talked about overuse of extra virgin olive oil, how every rub is being touted as the best ever on the face of the earth. We talked about if Jack Daniels is hyped or not. Stimulating conversation from those two. We'll see them back again next month. And then we close the show out with President and CEO of MMA Creative, Mike McLeod, and the creator of the World Food Championships, MMAcreative.com, WorldFoodChampionships.com. We will see you back here Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, this is your program host and proud, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until we see you back here next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.